Sri Aurobindo's been telling us about the world stair, this great like mountain-like structure of many levels, and how this has come into existence, that these planes of existence have been created as the Supreme Divine Mother plunged down from the supreme heights down into matter. Each of these planes was brought into existence. And at the last, he said a mysteries process is the universe, how all this has been done, how into this material universe the divine child is born. And when all these planes were in place, creation's search for self began its stir. So behind the material appearances, there is a spirit waking up, and as it wakes up, these different levels are experienced. So to live this mystery out, our souls came here. We agreed to be part of this adventure of descent into unconsciousness and waking up to higher consciousness. So there's just a very few lines left to the end of the canto. We'll look at those first. A seer within who knows the ordered plan concealed behind our momentary steps, inspires our ascent to viewless heights, as once the abysmal leap to earth and life. His call had reached the traveler in time. Apart in an unfathomed loneliness, he traveled in his mute and single strength, bearing the burden of the world's desire. A formless stillness called, a nameless light. Above him was the white, immobile ray. Around him, the eternal silences. No term was fixed to the high-pitched attempt. World after world disclosed its guarded powers. Heaven after heaven, its deep beatitudes. But still the invisible magnet drew his soul. A figure, soul, on nature's giant stair. He mounted towards an indiscernible end on the bare summit of created things. You can start.
The seer within, who knows the ordered plan, concealed behind our momentary steps, inspires our ascent to viewless heights, as once the abysmal leap to earth and life.
It's just 4 lines, but he says so much in these 4 lines. Within each one of us, there's a seer, a witness consciousness, a conscious being who knows the whole ordered plan of involution and evolution. That ordered plan is hidden behind our momentary steps, the steps we take in time. But it's that seer within who is inspiring us to evolve, to ascend out of our present state to these heights. They are so high we can't see them, the viewless heights. Now he's inspiring us to the ascent. But once he inspired the descent, the abysmal leap to earth and life. He spoke of it being the mother taking that abysmal leap. But perhaps for each of us, when we agree to become part of the terrestrial manifestation, our souls take this leap into the abyss. Sebastian.
His call had reached the traveler in time, apart, in an unfathomed loneliness. He traveled in his mute and single strength, bearing the burden of the world's desire.
Yes. So the call of that seer who inspires us to ascend had reached the traveler in time. It means the embodied divine within us, who travels through time, the great adventure of the manifestation. So here, the traveler in time is King Aswapati. We read about this traveler in time in Book 1, Canto 4, and towards the end, where the divine consciousness within us is shown like an explorer, traveling and exploring different countries. But it's this journey through time, through evolution, through the development from apparent unconsciousness to full consciousness. So Aswapati is that traveler in time. And here he's all alone, apart, in an unfathomed loneliness. He has no companion for this journey. He's traveling in his own mute and single strength, the silent strength of his unique ambition that has made him ready to undertake this journey. And he's carrying with him, his mission is to fulfill the world's desire. He's carrying that burden of responsibility. What is this world's desire? This is the birth of Savitri. At the beginning of Book 1, Canto 3, we were told, when we'd been introduced to Savitri, how was she born? A world's desire compelled her mortal birth. And that conception of this desire and the fulfillment of it, this is the story of King Aswapati. It starts there at the beginning of Book 1, Canto 3, and it goes through Canto 5. Now we've started on the world stair, 15 levels, and then even he will reach the height of all that can be known, and it's not enough. He hasn't found what he was looking for. What he's looking for is the power which can change our earthly life into the life divine. And he finds it in Book 3, the book of the of the Divine Mother. And when he reaches her, she says, I know what you want. Everything that you've won, everything that you've achieved, it's yours. Nobody can take it away from you. But don't ask for anything more. Humanity isn't ready for all that. And he said, but how can I go on living if you don't give some encouragement, some help? No? I know that your creation can't fail, but it's taking such a long time. Please, incarnate your own force. Send some great being to earth to speed up this whole process. And the mother says, yes, I will. And that's the end of Book 3. And after that, we have Book 4, the birth of Savitri, how she's born, and her whole story. But these first 3 books tell us Aswapati's story. And now he's just starting on this great pilgrimage, his search for the power that can divinize life on earth. A formless
stillness, cold, and nameless life. Above, he was the bright, immobile ray. Around him the eternal silences.
So this is how we see King Aswapati. He's being called a formless stillness. There's no form, emptiness and silence is calling him. A nameless light. And above him he sees this white, immobile ray. I think perhaps this is the ray which is represented in the chamber in Matrimandir, the unmoving white ray. And all around him, the eternal silences.
You see that formless stillness, the adoration of the divine, it begins with a stillness of Absolute. Both of them are same.
Sorry?
In this page you see a formless stillness.
Yes.
On page 310,
Yes.
the adoration of the divine begins with a stillness absolute. Both of them are similar or same in the connection.
I don't know. We would have to have the experience, wouldn't we? To know. Joel.
No term was fixed to the high-pitched attempt. World after world disclosed its guarded powers. Heaven after heaven, its deep beatitudes. But still, the invisible magnet drew his soul.
Yes. So no term was fixed. He can't see any end. It seems to go on forever, this attempt that he's making. He's pitching his attempt very high, and he can't see the end of it.
Term means end.
A term, yeah, a term in a bus station, you have a terminus, that's the end. Yeah.
The term loan, they say in banks.
It's for a fixed period, yes. And of course, in a school or a university, there's a period of where you have your studies, first term, second term, third term. So they're all connected with this Latin word of an end, terminus. Yeah. So that he can't see any end to what he's doing. There's world after world disclosed, revealed, its guarded powers, the powers which it is protecting. And heaven and after heaven discloses its deep beatitudes, the blissfulness of its particular state. But still, the invisible magnet drew his soul. This is an image that has been used by Sri Ramakrishna. He says that the divine, our relationship with the divine, it's a sort of a little pin being attracted by this great magnet. And the more we are drawn, the stronger becomes the attraction, that we're drawn. So it is here. That call has come to him. He's being attracted to a great achievement, but he doesn't yet see what it is. Ganga Lakshmi.
A figure soared on nature's giant stair. He mounted towards an indiscernible end on the bare summit of great things.
Yes. So he's all alone. If we could see him from out in space, or we see him the way that Mother has depicted him in the painting, he's all alone, a little figure on this huge stair of all the planes of existence. He's climbing up one by one to an end that he can't see, indiscernible, it can't be seen. But he knows that it must be there on the bare summit of created things. There must be a highest level to the manifestation. That's where he's heading for. The summit is the top of the mountain. And very often the top of the mountain there's nothing growing there. It's just bare rock pointing up into the sky. It's something like that. So in this Canto 1, Sri Aurobindo has introduced us to this world stair of many levels of existence. And now we shall see Asvapati moving up the stair step by step. So the first step is the kingdom of subtle matter. That's the next level closest to our material world, is the kingdom of subtle matter.
A seer within, who knows the ordered plan concealed behind our momentary steps, inspires our ascent to viewless heights, as once the abysmal leap to earth and life. His call had reached the traveller in time. Apart, in an unfathomed loneliness, he travelled in his mute and single strength, bearing the burden of the world's desire. A formless stillness called, a nameless light. Above him was the white, immobile ray. Around him the eternal silences. No term was fixed to the high-pitched attempt. World after world disclosed its guarded powers, heaven after heaven its deep beatitudes, but still the invisible magnet drew his soul. A figure soul on nature's giant stair. He mounted towards an indiscernible end on the bare summit of created things.